Hello and welcome to the Home Care Millionaire Podcast, the show where compassion meets prosperity. I am Paul Tembande alongside my beautiful wife Joan here. We're honored to be your hosts. Together, Joan and I have built a home care agency from a little over $12,000 credit card loan. Okay, some people called it a gamble at that time. We've built it into an 8-figure business serving thousands of families over the years. And now we're here to share the lessons, strategies, and the mindset shifts that help us get there so that you can too.
We launched this podcast because the home care industry is often misunderstood. Too many people don't see the sacrifices owners and their caregivers make every single day, or the powerful impact agencies have on seniors and their communities. And truthfully, we looked around and realized there were not many podcasts out there shining a light on this industry. So we felt called to create the Home Care Millionaire Podcast.
This podcast is designed for the purpose-driven provider. For those of you who feel called to care, but also want to build a thriving, sustainable business. Each week, we're going to share with you real-life stories, proven strategies, and powerful mindset shifts that will help you move from just surviving to thriving.
Absolutely. Our tagline says it best. Compassion is your calling, wealth is your reward. And here on the Home Care Millionaire Podcast, we're going to show you how to embrace both.
So get ready for inspiration, practical insights, and the encouragement you need to impact lives, build wealth, and create a legacy through your agency. So hit subscribe, folks. Join us on this journey to transform your business, your mindset, and your future. Welcome, folks, to the Home Care Millionaire Podcast. Folks, today, Joan and I are truly honored to welcome our good friend, a fellow home care owner, Mr. Chris Smith. Chris has been an inspiration to us for many, many, many years. And he's done so much, served so many people over the years. He's been in this business, folks, for well over 14 years. Yeah. He's been serving seniors in this community with unwavering compassion and excellence. What we admire most is the way that he and his late wife, Michelle, led with their heart, integrity, and a genuine desire to make a difference.
So we are excited for you to hear his story and their stories, so to say, and the wisdom that he carries. So let's welcome Mr. Chris Smith to the Home Care Millionaire Podcast. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you. Yeah. I love your guys' exuberance. It's unique and it's fun to be around. Also, the name Home Care Millionaire, it's almost like an oxymoron. It doesn't seem to fit, but it's true. Yes. I love it.
Yes. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Chris, we're so happy to have you on board here today. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey into home care, please, if you don't mind.
So I've had multiple jobs. I started out working at a Christian camp as a director of a Christian camp near Los Angeles out of college. We loved that. That's where we started our family. We lived up in the mountains. It was idealistic, it was really wonderful. Yes. Then we decided to move to Colorado. Okay. I had become a general contractor in California and then brought that trade with me here to Colorado to build mountain log cabins for people. And loved the creative process, really found my niche being self-employed. Loved that part. But then in 2008, 2009, the market crashed for construction. Mm-hmm. And our town construction industry dropped 90%. And so my business, I wasn't the one guy that was going to remain. So we shut our doors and we're just wondering what we were going to do next. Where in the world God would open a door for us, I guess, because there wasn't just no construction, there was nothing going on. Wow. There was almost so we were living off of savings, and at that time, my wife and I were helping a neighbor out who was recently widowed. She was very dear to us, and we'd send the kids over, go shovel her driveway or porch when it snowed, or various other tasks around the house. And it quickly became evident that she was developing dementia. So we weren't prepared for that. And we didn't really know how to take care of that. And it got really bad. She almost burned her house down. One day we came in, her entire entire home was black with smoke. Fortunately, she had shared a bedroom and she was fine. But there were several other things like that alarmed us significantly to where we knew something else had to happen. Right around that time, my late wife heard an ad on the radio for visiting angels. And we didn't even know those were a real business. We were just hoping out. And in our little town, we looked around. There were no home care companies. It's just a little tiny mountain, 25,000 people. Not a big enough market. So we thought.
Correct.
Anyway, that was what got us on the road. We thought, well, there's nobody doing it here. We could do it a little bit maybe. And we invested in Visiting Angels and bought the franchise.
There you go. Wow.
Interesting.
Yes.
Really interesting journey.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Wow.
And everybody else in the Denver area, all the city people that had big franchises and all, they wrote us off immediately. They told us this late. We thought you guys were such a joke. We didn't even want to spend time to get to know you or anything. There was no way you were going to succeed.
Wow.
Can you imagine? Wow. And look at you now, after 14 years, doing so well.
Yes, indeed.
Wow.
Serving. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. In fact, it's akin actually, Chris, to my impression about the business also years ago when we started, when Joan found out about it. And because she had been doing, she has a master's degree, but when she came over from England, she had to do whatever we needed to do to survive. Yeah. And so she said, well, our friends told us, well, nursing is great. Get into nursing, you will guaranteed a paycheck. So along the way, she picked up a CNA. She got CNA trained, so she started working as a CNA. And I was in the leasing. I was in housing at that time, doing some leasing and all of that. And she said, well, honey, I think there's a potential here. That's what she said. I said, oh, really? So she investigated it.
Right.
That's how we got in. I got in. I said, well, you know what? I mean, if God gave it a dream, I'll just follow along. That's the way I looked at it. Okay. I wasn't going to argue with my wife, I said, if God gave it a dream, I'll follow along. And after the first year, Chris, my mind was made up. This wasn't for us. So, I mean, it involved serving, involved caring for people. And that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. So this does have a future for real. It does have a future. Chris, I was going to ask you that one of the questions I have on here, you talked about your start, which is great. Can you walk us through the early days of your business? What was it like starting out to seeing the success that you have right now? With your team. I know you have an awesome team. Could you kind of walk us through that, if you don't mind?
It's hard to even consider that how much of an imposter I felt like. I was a builder. I worked outside. I was going to go into an old lady's house and help her cook a meal or clean up her house. I mean, that was as far me as you can get.
Okay.
And then sitting down with doctors and nurses to tell them about our services, or sitting in a client's house and they tell us about their various medical issues.
Yes.
And we didn't even know what the words meant. We had no clue what we were doing.
You are so fresh.
It was insane that we jumped into this, but we felt like our willingness to help the people who weren't getting help would somehow play out. Even if it was volunteering, I don't know.
Amen.
But yeah, we were scared to death. When the state surveyor came to do the final interview with us to give us our license, we kind of went through the whole checklist, and our franchise prepared us real well.
Oh, good.
Oh, wow.
Good.
Except for one issue. At the end, she was kind of like, well, it looks all real good here. And she looks at us real intently and she says, but I don't see anywhere on here, which one of you is the licensed nurse? We kind of looked at each other in absolute shock. Okay, they found out we're imposters. Be able to do this. It's all over. Just forget it. Just sink that 50 grand and burn it up. And she looked at us and we said, well, neither of us, we didn't know that was a requirement. And truly, we read the regs and it wasn't in there as far as we saw.
That's right.
And she said, well, never mind. It's okay. I really like you guys. And this part of the state really needs providers. So
there you go.
We're going to let you through this time.
Wow.
I don't think that's how medicine usually goes in our industry, but it worked out. I mean, we still were just thinking we're going to help a couple people out, and that's all this is ever going to be.
Wow.
But shortly after we opened, months, a local Native American tribe called us up.
Okay.
We'd like to meet with you.
Okay.
And so I went to a meeting, and I'm thinking I'm going to sit down with some guy whose dad needs help.
Yes.
Mm.
No, I went into a very, very nice office boardroom,
Mm.
and the tribe, the tribe, and the executive officer of the tribe, and medical director of the tribe, everybody was there, and they said, we're looking for a company to do all of our long-term care because we offer that benefit to our members.
Oh,
Wow.
And of course, in my mind is going like, hey, they don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Wow.
I just nodded my head and then walked out with the contract to take care of it. And instantly we were making over $1 million a year in sales.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Congratulations.
Like a massive thing. So
Yes.
that's what kind of launched us. I think that year we received the Rising Star Award for the fastest growing new agency.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's an
Wow.
interesting story. But taking it back to your first survey, I feel like that survey your caring, your compassion, your heart.
Yeah.
That's why they were willing to let you
Oh, yeah.
go the first time for that survey. Anyway, those were many years ago. But let's ask you this. Like any business starting out, even after so many years, you get to face challenges. Which one would you say has been the most significant obstacle you faced, and how you overcame that? If you can share that with our audience.
Well, this is a big one that continues to be a big one. Our territory is in a very rural area in the Rocky Mountains. I did the math. Our territory, our one franchise covers 35,000 square miles.
Whoa.
What?
So distance is a real problem. Our caregivers have to drive considerable distances to get to these remote mountain cabins or little communities that they don't live in, but the client does, and they need care.
Right. Exactly.
So we've had to figure out how to charge appropriately and pay for mileage for our caregivers because they're driving sometimes an hour to go take care of a client for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well, the drive time is longer than their shift.
Yeah.
And so, we have to charge the client accordingly, which seems outrageous sometimes, but if they need care, they need care. And you got to work out the economics so that they can get care.
Yes.
And if they can't afford it, then that's, it's not possible.
Mm.
But most people can afford it if they really need it, and they make it happen.
Wow.
That's probably our biggest one overall.
Yeah, and we see many providers who are in the rural areas and they're pulling their hairs every day, pulling caregivers from metro areas into those rural areas. It's not easy. And they have to incentivize them, beg them, do whatever they need to do to make sure their clients are taken care of.
Right.
So thank you for serving those clients.
Because those folks, they need to care. They need to care. I was going to also add, Chris, that I think that the survey saw your heart. You guys, I go back to say that because I think that, you had no, for lack of a very better word, you had no business being in this industry. I mean, well, you didn't, but God called you and Michelle to go serve.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. I mean,
Oh,
that's no other way. I mean, I mean, the odds were, you mentioned the fact that you had that impostor syndrome, which we all have at some point, but you kept going. What kept you going? I think your faith. I think he was leading you somewhere to serve his children, the vulnerable part of his kids, I think, So thank you again for doing that. And that's why Joan and I mean, and we'll talk about this as we go forward here. We've been to, starting out, we used to go to clients' home and provide care ourselves. Okay. I mean, years ago, we used to do that. And we saw the difference. I mean, there was this one client, he weighed about over 400 pounds. Okay. And then, on Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, whatever, the nurses wouldn't go out. We had to go in there and to get him out of bed. He weighed 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And we needed Hoyer lift to bring him out of bed and do his toileting and all of that. And Joan had to do it. I had to go support her do this. It was interesting, Chris, because when we would come out, after we would get done with this gentleman, he would say, let us pray. Oh yeah. He would thank God for sending us. Yeah. And he would ask God to take us home safely.
Yeah.
The difference we make, the difference we do in what we do, Chris, is really beyond the dollars. like that, I believe the way impacting another life really just makes all the difference in the world,
Yeah.
So yeah. Because one other question I have on here is, beyond providing great care, what do you believe is the single most important factor that's contributed to the growth of your agency and your financial success?
Of course, I think you hit it on the head. Excellence is the foundation of our business. And I mean business, the quality of care, the training we give our caregivers, the way we treat our employees, even like the decor in our office. I like our company cars to be kept really clean. Excellence really, I just don't know any other way that I could operate if it wasn't striving for excellence every day. I heard another word that I think actually makes it feels better to me, and it was elegant. Like if you're in a business, which means excellent, it means simple, easy to understand, easy to appreciate. I like that word, elegant. I think you can incorporate it.
Yeah, that's a nice one. That is a nice one. Yes.
Wow.
That's a nice one.
Thank you.
Probably the biggest thing in that is making lifetime value decisions. Those are decisions that may not be expedient in the short term, but in the long term give you real value. There's been several times where somebody would come up to me and say, I don't know exactly what to do right now. Like this customer says they want a refund.
Okay.
Maybe it's because they have dementia and they forgot they got care. That's actually happened many times.
Yeah.
And we go back and forth on it, and maybe it's not crystal clear and the children don't understand or whatever. We're like, what is the excellent thing to do here? That's how we judge how to make decisions.
Wow.
So those lifetime value decisions for the long term, I think we're reaping the benefits of those today.
Chris, is that almost like goodwill? Because, when you do goodwill, you do the right thing, right? I mean, you do the right thing, which is what I hear you saying here. You do what is right. Not necessarily what may be good for your pocketbook at that point, but what is right? What is a fair thing to do? I mean, and seeing emotions aside, I think that's what you're saying.
I use that phrase exactly many times. Like we do the right thing because it's the right thing. We just do the right thing.
It is the right thing. Absolutely. It's interesting, Chris, you say this, and I'll just segue because you brought this up. We had an employee, one of our caregivers, got a check, and I'm sure you've been through this many times. She got a check 2 years ago, did not cash it, and lost it. Back then, we were still paper checks. We hadn't gone to ACH. And so she put it in a drawer someplace and lost it. And lo and behold, she was cleaning her closet about 2 weeks ago, and she finds the check from 2 years ago now. And of course, it's not cashable, right? And then so she brings it into the office. She wants a new check. And then one of our team members, we'll call them team members, not employees, she comes in, she says, well, Paul, this is what's going on. This employee brought a check, and, she wants to know if we can cash it. I looked at this, from 2 years ago. I said, well, you know what? What is the right thing to do? Cut another check.
You earned it. Yeah.
I mean, exactly. It's her money. We have to your point, we got to go away from being expedient. Sometimes you're dealing with human beings here who have human conditions. All right. They have situations come up, and we cut another check. I tell you what, Chris, goodwill we earn by doing that to that lady is going to pay us so many times. We're not doing it because of that. We're just doing it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's right. No. So you're so right, Chris. I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%.
Wow. Well, Chris, how has your perspective for home care, providing care, changed over the years? If it has.
Coming from an absolute zero in qualifications to now teaching others.
Yes.
Starting buying existing franchises and turning them around to be very profitable.
Yeah.
That's like night and day.
It is
growth, right?
It is.
And some of the things that, systematizing operations is very important.
Yeah.
At first, it was just the goodness of our heart that got us by. But as you grow, you have to implement systems.
Yes.
So those have been very important, and we're still working on those. I think having an attitude of being a lifetime learner, like always reading, learning, your podcast is going to instruct other people. And they hopefully have taken on this mantle of being a learner We encourage all of our employees to be learners on their own. It's what we bring to the table for them. So it's maturing, it's maturing. I know one thing early on that was really hard was increasing our price.
Yes.
You realize with time, like, God, we're barely making it. And so you're like, what would we have to, we'd have to raise our prices. You can't pay any less. That just won't work. And for other various reasons.
Correct.
But every time we've done a price increase, it works. Like we've never had one where all of our customers bailed on us or anything.
No.
And of course, we're not raising prices to gouge people or anything.
No, of course not.
As the owner, we're trying to manage both ends of the spectrum here.
That's right.
All the cost then all the revenue.
That's
and
right.
the clients and what they have to pay. And in every market, we're trying to consider where do we stand with competitors, what's affordable for the clients, what do we have to pay to get caregivers to work for us and keep them? I mean, there's a lot of factors. I think a lot of people, especially for me as a young business owner, I didn't really understand that whole balancing act, but it's a critical role that the owner really only can understand fully.
It is. No, you're right. That's right. Chris, I'll tell you, I think I'll go back to what you talked about, which is so important, being having that attitude of always learning, wanting to learn. I mean, I would say that's one of the most critical parts to your success. I would say that, wholeheartedly, because when you have that attitude of never knowing enough, wanting to always learn, how could you get better? You get better. You naturally get better. And then with the acquisitions you've done over the years too, you've had to take on these other office franchises that you bought and kind of grow them too. And so it's all part of that process, which is wonderful. Very recommendable. Part of you. Awesome.
For Chris, for someone who is starting out, right? Starting, their journey in the home care space to run a home care agency or own a home care agency, what is one piece of advice you could give them to avoid some of the pitfalls that many newbies or even existing home care agencies who've been in the industry for a while face? What is that one piece of advice you could share? Maybe one or two?
Leverage your strengths. Like we look at our strengths and weaknesses, and for a long time, I thought I needed to fix my weaknesses. But some of those weaknesses are essentially God-given, right? They're part of your psyche. But your strengths are also God-given. And that's actually where I think you can benefit from in life is from your own strengths. So leverage them, maximize them, utilize them, find out what they are and dive into them. For example, a lot of times your strengths, like let's take bookkeeping. Okay. Bookkeeping is a task. It's not really an entrepreneur's first strength. Those don't go together all the time.
Yeah.
But I did all the bookkeeping for many years.
Same here.
I knew it wasn't my strength. It was like an average thing for me. And when I was able to give that up for vision planning, which is my strength, I was scared to death to let anybody see my numbers, anybody have access to the bank account, any of that stuff.
Same here.
But I let go of my weakness and I dove into my strength, and I literally 10x or more in my net worth, my income, and everything.
Look at that.
So that's probably one of my biggest pieces of advice.
Thank you. That's a powerful one, because many times we think of, SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we're not sure how to bring it into an experience like this. And you've just clearly outlined how to harness even the weakness and turn that into a strength, because you gave that up and now you're able to focus on your strength. That's beautiful, Chris. Thank you.
It's amazing, Chris, you say that, because I was the same way. I mean, Joe could speak to, I was the same way. I did not want to, it was my thing. I wasn't very good at it. I mean, I did the best I could here, but it was my thing. I had to, and I was the only one who could do it. But then I tell you, Chris, like I spoke at the conference we had in Boston here. I said, when the gentleman was running our 401k, he had this company doing our 401k for us. He came and said, Paul, what are you doing book? I said, well, I mean, someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm good at it, right? So he goes, I said, yeah. So Paul, I tell you what, you're wasting your time. He says, costing you money. You get somebody who can do this for you. They're not going to do the billing. They're going to do all of that stuff. collections. You can, I mean, that's, put your time. I did not get it. So this guy finally threatened me. Well, it was, listen, good guy. I like him till today. He said, Paul, if you don't get a bookkeeper by the time I get here next time, because he came every quarterly basis, our 401k. He said, if you don't get a bookkeeper here by the next time I get here, I'm not going to talk to you. This is serious. So Joan and I looked around, we found someone, and then it changed the whole summer for me, because now I have someone handling that, and I can focus on working on my business, not in my business.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, changes everything. Thank you so much. That is a good one. Chris, I've got to say also, before I ask you the question here, is just that I like you mentioned that you're writing a book, and I love for you to, once your book comes out, if you don't mind, to come on the show again and talk about your book, because we want folks to see that it's not just that the folks that do what we do, honest like you and myself and Joan, who do this work, also have another life. We have some other things to give to society. And I hope you'd be, what's the title? What's the book about? Could you give us a little snippet of what your book is about?
It is essentially a memoir, but I've written it in a really narrative form to be more like a novel.
Okay.
It's about my adult life with my late wife. It was originally started to be a legacy for my kids and grandkids to know about their grandmother, mother. But I hired some writing coaches to help me make it more than just a linear memoir, but to make it much more interesting to read.
Okay.
It does talk quite a bit more about visiting angels and the home care industry and the start of all of that, and some of the growth, not all of it, because things keep growing for me.
Yes, they do.
And acquiring other types of businesses and investments. So, but it does talk a lot about being a learner my whole life. Like, I have 6 kids, so there's a lot of family dynamics and activities, and then it's titled My Mountains because we lived in the mountains most of our adult life and really loved hiking, 4-wheeling. You backpacked a inflatable paddleboard up to a high alpine lake at 12,000 feet, blow it up and paddle out onto a glacier lake, things like that.
Whoa!
They fix your soul. They bring life to me, and so it's partly that, but it's also part entitled My Mountains because of some of the tragedies I've had to go through visiting my wife and my firstborn son, and so I just put all those together in a very narrative form to make it fun and interesting to read. I like storytelling. It's a book that you sit around a campfire and read a chapter and everybody enjoy the scene that the story's being told about. Kind of like that.
Okay, good deal.
Wow, that sounds interesting, Chris. Looking forward to reading it.
Yeah.
Chris, just so you know, Joan is also an author. I don't know if you can see this. Did you?
I have read that.
This is Joan's question.
I have already read that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good deal. So when when yours come up, please let us know. We'd love to log on it. And hopefully get you here to talk some more about it if you don't mind. Yes, we'd definitely love. Awesome. Well, you want to talk about? I was going to ask this last question of Chris. I know he's got to run here. We're not going to be long. Chris, looking back at your entire journey, what is the most rewarding aspect of being a home care agency owner?
Well, I think 2 things, and you almost summed them up in your intro, but the number one thing is we help vulnerable, lonely, sometimes sick people. We help about 400 a day. To me, that just fills my heart thinking that many people a day are being helped in the communities we serve. And we could probably, we're striving right now to help 600 a day. We believe.
There you go.
Capture that.
Yes.
And that all goes back to we helped our neighbor. And when our neighbor needed help, and we're active in our church, we thought, how come the church isn't helping this lady out? She's a widow. She's alone. She needs help. Where's the church helping the community like they're supposed to? And then we realized we're the church. I'm the church. I'm the one who's supposed to be doing this kind of stuff if God calls me to do it. So go do it.
That's right.
And now we're helping out hundreds of people every single day. To me, that's that's what I'm going to think of on my deathbed. I helped hundreds of people out.
Awesome.
That's a legacy.
It is.
And it was really neat that it paid money to do it. That was really neat too.
That's right. Hence the Home Care Millionaire.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You see, because I say you were so right, Chris. Because folks, I think, and I think we opened it up by saying that folks will get a bad rap because folks don't know what is involved. As you said, we're sort of in a sandwich situation because we have to take care of operations, right? And we have to also make sure the client is well taken care of. We're sandwiched, really. And folks don't know that. But the difference that we come at this from our heart, we come at this from a service perspective. And I've always maintained, just like you are, that when you come away from that vantage point, you never lose. You always win. Because see how God, and we're faith-based. I know you're faith-based too. Our faith is extremely important to Joan and I. And I think it is for you as well.
Oh, yeah.
And look at how God used your neighbor to lead you down a different path. And now you and Michelle and your team have blessed thousands of people out there. I've served hundreds of thousands of people out there. To me, that's the story. That's the difference. That is the difference. Chris, to wrap it up, I want to just ask you, what are some lessons, some takeaways you would want to throw out there for folks who are doing what we do or aspiring home care owners? What would you say 2 or 3 takeaways that they might want to consider if they want to embark on this journey or even scale or get better? What would make a difference for them?
So back to the original premise, you stated that excellence is where you got to start. You got to strive for it every day. You got to go to work every day wondering how much better you can do today. Not to win or own market share or become rich or have the most hours in a week. That's not, you go to work to be excellent, to see how well you can do today. And for us, one of the big things is, of course, our caregivers, right? Because they're the frontline people. They provide the actual care.
Yes.
So we have continued to increase our training over the years and ongoing training for existing caregivers. This is probably what sets us apart, I think, from all of our competitors for sure, is they have to go through a couple days of training before they can even start shadowing shift become an actual caregiver on their own. So they'll go through almost a week's worth of paid training before they're ever out to work.
Wow, that's huge.
And then every year they have follow-up training in dementia care, in diabetes care, in palliative care, and so many that Visiting Angels offers, as well as some we've developed ourselves. We even have training on lifestyle choices.
Oh, wow.
For our employees.
Wow.
Like, what do you do with your paycheck? Do you just go blow it on whatever? Or do you just to help them out to know how to live well? Because some of them are college girls or kids, or some of them just are people who've never really had anybody tell them, like,
that's
what
true.
do you do with your paycheck?
That is true.
So training is, and we have lots of bonuses for them, and we have longevity bonuses, merit-based bonuses, mentoring constantly. I think that would, if I could say what's one thing that would make you successful, that's what I would say.
That is so true, Chris. I mean, our caregivers are ambassadors, right? That's how we see them.
Yeah.
Back in the office, the client doesn't know us. They know the caregiver as us.
That's right.
Right. So we do take a lot of time to do some of the things that you've talked about. For us, every year we have a theme for personal development. And this year was on financial wellness.
Yeah.
We talked about financial wellness where we had a CPA come and talk to them. What do you do? Like you said, what do you do with your paycheck? Do you just go and blow it? Do you have a budget?
Yeah.
You know, what are you doing with that money? How can we give you some resources, some tools to help you manage it better so that you do more for yourself? So that's a very good one. We have to take care of the caregiver. In fact, I wrote an article, it's for Forbes.com, on caring for the caregiver. Putting the caregiver first. And that's the best strategy, I think, because they are the ones who would give you that reputation in the market, right? Whether you have satisfied clients or not is a result primarily of what the caregivers do. So that's,
and really the money, the profitability, it's secondary to the investment. You're making investments in these people's lives, your employees' lives, and you want that investment to give you a return.
100%.
If it's an insincere investment or a small investment, you're not going to get a big return. So I think we owe it to them, whether we're going to get a big investment or not, but if we don't put some chips on the table and invest, we're not going to get much back.
That's right. That's right.
Chris, you're so right. In fact, it reminds me of what Zig Ziglar used to say. I'm sure you know Zig Ziglar. He said that when you take your eyes off yourself and put it on the other person, it's going to work out for you.
Yeah.
You're so right. We have to show these people that we care.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Dr. I forget her name now, used to say that people don't care how much you know.
Yeah.
Know how much you care.
That's right.
Yeah. It's about caring for people. And because our employees are clients too. They are, they are. And they can sense the authenticity of what we do. They can sense it. So again, thank you, Chris. Thank you. This has been awesome. I think we've come to the end here. Any final thoughts you have, Chris, before we call it a day? We've really enjoyed it. Any final thoughts?
No, I wish you the best on this podcast.
Thank you, Chris.
Hopefully you'll get a good audience that will receive this well and benefit from it.
Yeah.
I know when I was starting out, I would have done anything to pick the brain of some people that are ahead of me. And, some were kind enough to give me some insights, but you never really got to dive in with them. So this is a really great day.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you. Your wisdom, your story, as you shared, we're going to benefit from that ourselves. As a matter of fact, you're such a great person, and the work you do impacts so many thousands of lives of others. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Home Care Millionaire Podcast. We hope you found inspiration, encouragement, and practical tools you can apply right away in your own journey. Our mission is simple, folks, to shine a light on the incredible impact that home care owners and their caregivers make every single day, and to give you the mindset, strategies, and faith-filled wisdom to build both purpose and prosperity.
Because here is what we believe. Compassion is your calling, wealth is your reward. If this episode spoke to you, we'd love for you to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you like more resources or have questions for Paul and I, just head over to askjoanandpaul.com. We'll be honored to connect with you there.
Until next time, folks, remember, you have what it takes to build wealth, create freedom, and leave a legacy through your agency. We're here cheering you on every step of the way. Bye for now.